this. This is dermatographic urticaria, also known as skin writing. Urticaria is a skin disorder in which the skin becomes irritated with seemingly little cause. There are many different kinds of urticaria with very different causes, and with varying presences of symptoms. Some urticaria is triggered by allergic responses. Some urticaria is simply triggered by pressure on the skin. Some urticaria presents as only a mild irritation and discoloration on the skin as red marks that take longer than normal to disappear, while others, like what we see with Ali, produce a histamine response under the skin, causing inflammation, discoloration, discomfort, sometimes to the point of being painful, and an elevated fever. About 5% of the population is affected by urticaria, mostly in its milder forms. Urticaria typically goes away in a few years and can be properly treated and managed, but in some cases the condition is permanent and will not go away. People have varying experiences with their urticaria. For example, one artist with dermatographic urticaria uses her skin as her canvas. The diagnosis is painless and simple, but diagnosis requires access to the child, and as noted earlier, the Yakubovs refuse Ali to be diagnosed. The typical treatment for urticaria is inexpensive, risk-free, and simple. It just requires administering an antihistamine, but of course it requires a diagnosis first. To me, this is the best explanation. The parents may have noticed the disorder in their child, and if they are religiously deluded enough, they may have seen it as a sign from Allah that their child was to be used as a canvas, and started writing the verses on their child. So why don't they stop? Their child is in obvious and repeated discomfort, and if it is indeed this skin disorder, the symptoms are easily treated. Well, this was another thing I noticed in the photographs, especially of the family and the house, that made me suspicious. In pictures taken this year, months after the initial exposure in the media, the family seems to be doing better financially. Most notably, the quality of clothing has improved. Now, I can't say for sure, and the photos are hardly conclusive evidence, but it does appear the family may be receiving tributes for their alleged miracle child from the faithful. This speaks to one possible incentive to continue the hoax. But really, I think another issue is at work here that perpetuates this unfortunate sham. The Yakubovs live in Dagestan, a Russian republic which has been the battleground for many clashes between Islamic militants and extremists and the governments in the region as the extremists fight to seize political control. Dagestan is bordered on the north and the northwest by the republics of Kalmykia, Stavropol Krai, and Chechen, on the south by Azerbaijan and southwest by Georgia, with the Caspian Sea on the east, all of which is just north of Iran and Turkey. Dagestan is a hotbed of ethnic tension, with 13 distinct ethnic groups living in the largely mountainous country, and over 30 languages are spoken. The country's population is mostly Muslim at 91%, with the remaining 9% identifying themselves as Christian, and Dagestan is seen as the historical point through which Islam entered Russia. Much of the population is in poverty and live in fear of their lives. Both conditions are seen to be primarily caused by the guerrilla-style fighting and terrorism of the Islamic militants. The insurgents are recruiting foreign al-Qaeda militants who wish to establish an Islamic State in the region. Years of suicide bombs and armed attacks, targeting police and security forces, and attempts to overthrow governments have made many of the Muslim residents of Dagestan battle-weary and desperate for hope. Muslim residents and leaders in the area have latched onto poor little Ali as some sort of a living, magical talisman who will bring about peace in the region. Green satin flags hang around the family's home in Kizlyar, making the house a shrine, where thousands have traveled, some by foot from great distances, to see Ali. Armed police protect the house, and imams buzz around, distributing photographs of the latest inscriptions on Ali's arms and legs. Inside the crowded home, the faithful react with glee when new photos are shown. Outside the home, pilgrims, up to 2,000 a day, pray and offer up their thanks to Allah. The word miracle isn't often used in Islam, but the mayor of Makhachkala, who has survived about a dozen attempts on his life from the Islamic militants since the late 1990s, calls Ali a miracle, claiming he is a message of warning to the extremists. Ali's parents cannot allow the hoax to be exposed now. If shown to be a charlatan, at the very best, they will be ostracized from their community, or possibly worse if the militants wish to mark the sham with an exclamation point. They are truly in a dangerous situation. Everywhere I see videos of this posted on YouTube, the comments section is filled with people praising their imaginary friend and making all kinds of crazy claims, while those who make comments that are even slightly skeptical are shouted down. Any who have seen many videos in my channel know that I am fascinated by what people believe on bad evidence or no evidence and why they believe it. What amazed me about this one was that I immediately went to several different possible explanations for it, while so many others went immediately in the opposite direction, embracing it as a religious miracle, and seemingly unwilling or unable to apply any kind of honest scrutiny to the claim. I don't get it. I just don't get the appeal of thinking that way, of thinking that even things with simple explanations are magical phenomena. The explanation is so much better, and the explanation helps prevent the child from being exploited further, and offers a promise of relief of the child's fever and discomfort. In my mind, the presence of a plausible earthly explanation automatically trumps any supernatural claim of Allah using the boy as his personal scribble pad. Extraordinary claims still require extraordinary evidence.